Okay, full credit to the PR machine. They broke through despite the Olympics. It had an extraordinary run around the country. But Dennis, what are people left with? They know that Wayne Swan likes Bruce Springsteen. Anything else?
Well, I think they are left with a better idea about what Wayne Swan's values are. He managed, I think it was on Wednesday, he did more than a dozen radio interviews, and a lot of them were on FM stations, and positive stuff on FM, which politicians don't very often get. He did a couple of set-piece TV interviews. Outside of the budget, it's probably the biggest media hit-out that Wayne Swan has had all year, and he was able to break through and talk about Labor values. And Bruce Springsteen, who is this Mr. Authenticity, they call him in the music business, and he is instantly recognisable as a man of specific values the world around. So if you hold him up and you say, well, my values are with this guy, you'll get a lot of people nodding.
And I think that was absolutely the intention of the exercise. Yeah. I mean, Wayne Swan said on Melbourne radio with Bruce Guthrie during the week, it's very hard to get your message through conventional media. It's particularly hard for Labor at the moment because that segment of the blue-collar, electorate has completely stopped listening to politics altogether. So even though, commentators and the coalition think it's a bit naff and he laid it on with a trowel and we might not like it, we're not his intended audience for this, and he got to his intended audience. And even if the tone of the piece might have been a little bit, mocking, he still got those messages through.
Mike, there were a lot of people that said to me they thought he looked a bit of a goose. What did you think?
Well, I think politicians tend to look bits of geese whenever they take on the music industry for some reason. I remember John Howard, who liked Bob Dylan for the melodies, not the lyrics. I mean, and then we have Craig Emerson. It always goes bad for them when they do this sort of stuff. But I've got to say, some of the Conservative commentators, I thought, didn't look that flash either, because instead of just criticising Wayne, a lot of them took the low road of criticising Bruce and pointing out the hypocrisy of Bruce having lots of money and private jets and stuff.
Yeah. But I don't agree this went bad for him. I think this hit exactly the spot he wanted to hit, and it wasn't our opinion of it. That wasn't what he was going for.
Well, he's not giving up, by the way. Just yesterday at the ALP conference in Tasmania that we already referred to, and despite this fear that there's a karaoke club being formed within the Labor Party, he was at it again. Have a listen.
I've been pretty pleased, I suppose, with the reaction, and it has forced some other politicians to come out and talk about their preoccupations with music. The one that I think everyone here wouldn't be surprised to hear is Tony Abbott. His inspiration is Hey Jude. Na, 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 na.
OK, time to draw a line under this, Mike?
I think possibly. I think it's probably time to draw a line under it and leave all the music jokes aside for now.
But what about on the other issue, though, the attack on the billionaires? You know what the strategy is behind it. Is it time to ease back on that one as well?
No, I think that one's going quite well too. Actually, my father always used to say, you can tell what God thinks of money by the people he gives it to. And I just think that Swanee has looked at these people and he's thought, these people are good targets because they're not very sympathetic characters.
But they're not necessarily as targets.
They're not like the Bill Gates billionaires or the billionaires that you sort of admire because they've come up with something really brilliant. These are billionaires who've done it by a large measure of luck, a certain amount of hard grafting and cunning, but are not particularly admirable human beings and are a bit wacky in a lot of cases. And I think that it resonates.
But the line he's trying to get is Tony Abbott wants to give the billionaires a tax cut. I mean, that's the line. That's the cut-through line that he's gunning for. And again, he got it through.
Yeah, for sure. And this. The idea of class warfare and of giving the Labor base something to latch onto, when you're at 30% of the vote, you need to do that. And in politics, it's as old as politics itself. You go back and you look at what Franklin Roosevelt did in the 30s when he launched a jihad against Wall Street and against the billionaires in America. And he won more elections than any other president and won them against the odds in 1938.
Although it's a tactic that works when the economy's in a deep, deep hole.
Oh, sure.
It probably works better for it worked better for FDR. It'll work better for Obama than it does in Australia, where the economy is not in such a deep hole in spite of public perceptions that it ain't going
Clive
so good.
Palmer, by the way, tweeted that he thought Wayne Swan was being unpatriotic. He prefers Australian bands like Red Gum and the Seekers. But Red Gum, of course, had a reputation of being communist because they were always sticking up for the workers and attacking the bosses. But not the lyrics, as Mike said.
And they actually had a song attacking Job Jelky Peterson, who Clive Palmer used to be the spokesman for.
Right.